I don't know if I've seen someone with the drive and passion to make it in the industry like I've seen with you. And
and I see a couple of notes right there. You see a couple of things we talk about grading NFL coaches, a couple of that stuff. You see a couple more notes right here.
This guy, John Allcorn, this guy, nobody works harder. This guy is a future superstar in the media business.
Keep up the good work, man. I like your style.
What's up, folks? John Allcorn Show here on the Mi6 Sports Network. Excuse me, audience should be pretty much about the same, folks. Things happen probably at the worst possible time. You wouldn't think would happen, but we are back here on the Mi6 Sports Network. Maybe a couple years from now, the God of Running Entertainment Network comes back. But we are here back. We're back at school pretty soon. See me on radio. But either way, folks, we are back here with our NFL segment. Now the John Allcorn Show, same pretty much everything, guests, all that stuff. Talk about Monday Night Football, which I don't know, it's a game. We can say that the Chiefs and the Giants don't have Galladay. The Giants don't have Saquon, even if they had Saquon, even if they had their Golden Tate. You still have Daniel Jones as your starting franchise quarterback. You still have the laziness and the piss poor offensive line for the Giants. You still have what could be maybe a better New York Giants defensive line. I say that in quotes to be nice and courteous and to not be mean. But this is the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill. I know they've been figured out. I know they've lost against the Bills. I know they've had a lot of tough losses. But this is the Giants. This is Daniel Penny. This is Daniel Jones, whoever or whatever you want to call them, any name under the sun in terms of how bad he is as an NFL quarterback. Overdrafted, obviously, yes. The Chiefs' defense still is at an historic bad pace. If you're correct me if I'm wrong, though, folks, people are not going to be watching. 31st, 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 32nd, 32nd, and the last three categories, I believe, are 31st. So we thought the Cowboys' defense of 2020 was worse. One of the worst defenses of all time in NFL history. One of them. Chiefs are like, no, hold my beer. I'll do that. I'll take that category from the Dallas Cowboys. Honey Badger past his prime. I know they say there's no way the Chiefs can lose against maybe the Bills or another team. But this is the New York Giants. This is the NFC least. You have Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey. So many issues. Yes, Mahomes is hopefully 100%. That defense is still going to be that defense. So you're not going to be relying on that defense. If we're being brutally honest, you know this. Look at the stats and numbers. Look at the film. Even when Patrick Mahomes became the starter of the Kansas City Chiefs and you brought back our Honey Badger from his former NFL team, Tyrann Mathieu has not been the same since he left Arizona. He got that fat contract. Tyrann Mathieu spent a year with another team. Now he's been with the Chiefs. Is he past his prime? Defensive-wise, both teams are just garbage. They're not going to get anything done. Mahomes and Danny Penny, this shouldn't be much of a competition. This shouldn't be really much of an answer. The Kansas City Chiefs are winning the game. I know some Giants fans out there will say maybe we could get a couple wins or more. Maybe we'll have to rebuild, re-sign Saquon, try to see what happens with Daniel Penny this year. Throw a penny, have a last resort, see what happens. Not looking so bright for the New York Giants fans right now. And of course, the Kansas City Chiefs will beat the New York Giants tonight by over 10 to 15 points. I don't know how. It's not going to be a blowout, but it's not going to be a pretty close game. It's a certain game we saw on Sunday Night Football yesterday. But without further ado, folks, we're getting to NFL schedules. Sunday night, football week 8 recap. A lot of great games. Some they were games, some were blowouts, some weren't even close. We're going to go back to obviously Thursday Night Football real quick just to recap that because it already happened. The Cardinals had a chance to win this football game. Marching down the field. Kyler Murray is, of course, like I said, towards the end of the third quarter in games, as he has a good first, second, third quarter. Towards the end of the third quarter, going to the fourth, he has some boneheaded interceptions. Despite all that, it looks like the Kyler Murray offense, led by head coach Cliff Kingsbury, looks like they're going to march down the field to get that touchdown. You're maybe 15, 20 yards away. If even that, it looks like it could be the game winner. Touchdown Arizona. That's what I thought. Or actually, that was incomplete. Arizona has another chance to score in the end zone with 10, 15, if you're lucky, 20 seconds left. Incomplete. Or so we thought. Green Bay defender intercepts it out of the end zone, who I believe with his former team didn't have a lot of luck. Comes in and gets a game-sealing interception. Obviously, that could be Kevin King. Kevin King is sponsored by Butterfingers. The game ends in a night crusher. AJ Green should have retired after the football game. AJ Green should have been released from the Arizona Cardinals. Then they have issues. Kyler Murray, is he going to be 100%? I guarantee you they don't play. They play this Sunday, so they have a couple of days off before they get to hardcore practice and pads. So maybe Carl's going to be 100%. I'm not saying it's going to fully damage their season, but with the Rams are continuing to win, with the moves the Rams are making, the Rams just traded for former Broncos linebacker Von Miller, coming out of A&M in 2011. They are trying to make defense, offensive lines piss their pants. They're trying to make them crap their pants. It's what they're doing. They're trying to scare every single opponent offense. But despite all of that, they come back to Arizona. This doesn't fully impact their season, but if Kyler Murray doesn't play this Sunday, it's going to be hard. We're not talking about winning the division. We're talking about just making the playoffs at this point. AJ Green has a complete misconception, goes to the left, the ball is thrown wide and right, and of course the receiver for the Packers, cornerback for the Packers, intercepts the ball and seals the game. I thought, I'm going to go to bed. Looks like Green Bay is going to win. Obviously, that was the outcome. But that was before these great plays. AJ Green surprisingly updates himself earlier on in that drive. And then AJ Green goes, like KC King says, full Higgins. So this past Sunday, unfortunately, Bengals, I don't know what they were doing. Zach Wilson's backup. I don't remember his name exactly. He lit it up, over 300 passing yards. 2 to 3 touchdowns. Like, where's this guy come from? Is this like his second start in the NFL? Michael White, I think that's what his name is. So, folks, correct me wrong in the comment section below. I believe it was Michael White, his second ever start in the NFL. Let's set up. Has the best game of his career. It has a better game than Zach Wilson's had all year. Like, do you think how embarrassing it is as a quarterback when a franchise in New York in the Big Apple, despite what they did or didn't do with Sam Darnold not getting the coaches, the weapons, we're not here to talk about that. But that franchise that drafted you second, I believe it was second overall, your backup, the guy that's only had, I believe, one career start before this past Sunday, outplays you. Think about the embarrassment. Maybe that's just from fans or media or on your social media accounts. That has to be embarrassing for Zach Wilson. What happened with the Bengals? I thought they were supposed to beat this team. You beat the teams you were supposed to beat by 50%. And I mean that you halfway beat the teams you're supposed to, but you're losing against the teams you're not supposed to, aka the Jets. Zach Wilson, through his first 3 games, having a worse rookie start in his first 3 games than Josh Rosen. Look up numbers. It's definitely obviously disappointing for the Bengals. Jamar Chase still having a touchdown, having a very good pace for Rookie of the Year. Look at the Bengals defense. There's really nothing to be like, not just in this game. They don't have a lot of play. Quarterback, no linebacker, defense. They're going to have to rely on the draft. Or expect the Bengals in 2022 to make some moves in free agency. Bengals fall 31-34. The game of the day. An AFC South matchup between the Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts. I was wrong in my prediction. I was talking to producer Stephen Wayne the other night. I said Tennessee wins by 6 or 7, a little bit off. But news going to be an exciting game. AFC South matchup determining if the Colts lose this game. Do they really have a chance to make it in the playoffs? Probably not. Just when it looks like Tennessee is going to win the game, the Colts march down the field. Pascal Carson Wentz marches his offense down the field. And what does Carson Wentz do? He throws an interception. All right. Titans march back down the field. Colts get the ball back again. Carson Wentz in this offense starts to drive down the field. And what does Carson Wentz do once again? He throws another interception. Just when we thought this game was over, 2 to 3 to 4 times, another Disney or another Cinderella story happens. In overtime, it almost was going to result in a tie. This when the Colts couldn't afford to lose to potentially miss the playoffs. When you have Tennessee with their record, they are, I believe, 5-3 on the year. The Colts are 3-5. They can't afford any other loss in the season. Like I said, in terms of when they were winning before this game against Tennessee, they were winning 2 of their last 3 or 3 of their last 3. Carson Wentz numbers weren't great, throwing 2 to 3 touchdowns, but yet you have Jonathan Taylor, your future running back, after the Colts made many mistakes years ago with running backs with the Browns. Certainly saying that's history. We're not going to talk about that. He is your guy, 14 carries, 20 carries. He's the guy that's going to be one of the main reasons why they win this game. It's not going to be Carson Wentz. Look at Carson Wentz in 2 big moments. In the fourth quarter and a moment in overtime. What does Carson Wentz do? Turns the ball over. We've seen fans talk about 2017 Carson Wentz, 27. Not all fans. Some fans could be like, okay, let's continue to do that. But the fact is, there are some realistic fans. They always like to rely on the past and everything. But this is 2021 Carson Wentz. Offensive line is much better. They have the younger weapons. Yes, T.Y. Hilton is a veteran presence for the Colts. Been on the team for many years. This Colts team, I believe, could be done for the season. And what a great thriller. Tennessee 34, Indianapolis 31. Rams win 38-22. I don't know what else we need to prove or talk about with the Rams. I'm not saying they played a team that we thought they were going to be something else. But all I have to say, Matthew Stafford and the Rams are producing. Matthew Stafford can have a career year, even though he's had really good 4,000+ yards and all these things that I've talked about before since that went to 2020. Now, John Allcorn Show started February 15, 2020. That's not the point. The point is Matthew Stafford's a franchise quarterback. The defense got even better. Trading for Von Miller. You got Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, Hasikim. I probably butchered his last name. 3 or 4 great elite defenders on the defensive line. A great corner in Jalen Ramsey. We thought the Rams defense was really good before. Imagine now how great this defense is going to be. Browns fall 15-10. Baker Mayfield, of course, I believe was out for this game. She had quarterback Case Keenum, who took the Vikings to the 2018 NFC Championship game. But the fact is, this is the 2021 Browns with a ton of injuries, and their season is maybe not what they thought was going to be. Of course, with the Steelers, they're the Steelers, but they're going all in this year because this could be big wins last year. But the point of this game we knew wasn't going to be a thriller. Yes, it's 2 AFC North teams, but that doesn't matter with the injuries and how Juju Smith is out for the year. Baker Mayfield, the shoulder, apparently he was fighting to play in this game, potentially more games moving forward. So a lot of injuries for the Browns. It's unfortunate, but this game and games moving forward, definitely going to be some big questions on that one. Philly. I'm still going to criticize Jalen Hurts is not a franchise quarterback. Well, you won 44-6 against Detroit. Like all of a sudden, people say, "Oh no, you were harsh on Jalen Hurts," or people are Jalen Hurts fans who Jalen Hurts criticizes. "Oh, you were harsh on Jalen Hurts." Now was it? No. Your head coach to motivate people, I believe, was showing pictures of flowers. If that's my head coach trying to motivate people, let's just say, I don't think that is going to work. You beat 44-6 against Detroit. Now I'm looking forward Jared Goff to keep playing with this. Detroit's always going to have a cop-out because the Ford family is obviously not going to sell the team. They're not going to admit, or the GM is going to admit, hey, we made a lot of mistakes. Head coach or GM is not going to admit that. The San Francisco 49ers defeated the Chicago Bears 33-22. Jeremy Garoppolo touchdown, Justin Fields. It looks like the Bears are going to potentially march down the field and make this game a little bit closer. Justin Fields had a great rushing touchdown. And Justin Fields makes a rookie mistake and throws an interception. The game didn't work out the way they thought it would. Defense, it could be maybe some things looking forward. But if there isn't any more debate on who should or shouldn't be the head coach, or who should or shouldn't be the GM for the Bears in 2022, I'll give you two clues. Ryan Pace, Matt Nagy. Callum knows that as being a Bears fan. I understand your frustration. Who those guys should not be there at all. Justin Fields has a bright future with the Chicago. Excuse me, bless you. We all sneeze on the show or fart as long as you don't short, because that means the show would end early. Game did not work the way the Chicago wanted. Justin Fields making rookie mistakes. Hopefully, this means Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy are gone after the 2021-2022 season. But a good win for San Francisco, but it gives them self-doubt because they're not winning the division. I'm not sure if they're going to make the playoffs. I definitely told people, maybe I'm crazy. I think they're going 7-10. Who knows? Maybe they can win a couple more games. Injuries or things could prevent that from happening. Carolina Panthers defeat the Falcons in a key NFC South matchup, 19-13. Sam Darnold got benched. Former XFL quarterback PJ Walker was with the Houston Roughnecks and got a shot with the Panthers because Andrew Luck and his father, Oliver Luck, saw something in PJ Walker. The Panthers win this game. This doesn't really change their season when you're supposed a guy you trade for that says, we believe in him. We believe in Sam Darnold. He's our franchise quarterback. And then look what the Panthers did. They bench him, which I don't blame them. So now next year, you're all going to say, we're not convinced that Sam Darnold, he's not our guy. We're going to continue to evaluate at the quarterback position. But then you're going to say PJ Walker's your guy. You could also talk about, yes, the Saints won yesterday. The Bucs lost. We saw this last year. The Bucs would be just fine. But for the Saints, we'll talk about that here in just a moment. And some devastating news coming out of the NFL for the New Orleans Saints. Is their season over? We'll talk about that in a little bit. But Atlanta. Talk about One Piece news coming out of, I guess, Falcons locker room. Whatever you want to talk about that before we move on to our last couple of games from NFL Sunday recap. Calvin Ridley has decided to step away from the NFL for some time to be able to work on his mental health. And like I said, I know everybody here at MSX likes to do that. But when we talk about football, or even if we agree or disagree, we're here to bring people together. And like when I commemorate Dak Prescott, I believe it was Jalen Hurts. I believe that was with the Ravens, is now with the Falcons. He's also on the trading block, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And I believe the trade deadline is tomorrow, but correct me if I'm wrong, folks. Calvin, I commend him. I commend Dak Prescott for being honest about this. I think this needs to be normal, not just in the NFL. It's not because you're famous or because you have all this money or their eyes or fans are on you. It doesn't matter if you're somebody or people see who you are, or if you're just a guy that works at Dell. We're not here to criticize who you work. Mental health needs to be normalized in the NFL, in every sport, and in every job. That is a very serious thing. I commit Calvin Ridley to taking time off to work on his mental health, and hopefully everything is okay with him there, though. But for the Falcons, though, you trade a tight end after you lose Austin Hooper in free agency in 2020 to the Browns. Now Jalen Hurts is not getting open. He's not being the guy you thought he was, maybe because it was the Ravens' different offense. Falcons being in denial in terms of, are they playoff caliber? Are they going to try and rebuild? Who knows? But the fact of the matter is now, Jalen Hurts could potentially be on the trading block. Could there be some teams interested in him? Who knows? But folks, we'll talk about the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills game. I understand there are a lot more Tua fans than they thought. Tua can be the guy. Tua can be the franchise quarterback. But before we go forward, read Kristen's comment. She say, "What's up, Christy? Thank you so much for tuning in. We're gonna have the John Allcorn Show here Monday and Fridays at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time." Isaiah, when I debate sports with you, it's like Charlie Brown trying to listen to his parents. All you hear is wah, 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 wah. Neither here nor there. I know there are Tua fans. I get that. I've tried to hear the arguments. Tua has the weapons. I'm not blaming it all on Tua. That defense is a huge step back. Did that defense have too much success early on? Did the whole Dolphins team have too much success in 2020? That part of the answer is yes. What happened? Kind of annoying. Is he part of the reason why that the Dolphins, when they traded him, I guess he went back to the Patriots? Is that one of the reasons? I don't know. This is how about them Cowboys? And I give him credit. I think Dak Prescott's out with like a type of ankle injury. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. I give Cooper Rush and the Cowboys team full credit. Now, I will admit though, Christy and everybody that's watching, I picked the Washington football team to win the division. Not because of the quarterback. Obviously, the defense is something to not joke about. But through the first 8 games, the scenarios for the Washington football team. If I'm looking this up right now, the Washington football team, their record right now, I believe, through the first 8 weeks. Look at the standings. They're 2-6. I will admit, Christy, I was wrong about, not because I'm not a fan of kept leading. No. I would never do that. To me, that's a football set. But that's neither here nor there. I picked the Washington football team to win the division this year. I'm not going to take it back because I said it. But I can say about that pick, I was wrong about picking the Washington football team because clearly this team is a lot better on defense, is a lot better on offense. The addition of rookie linebacker Michael Parsons has been a big addition to this team. You also have your second-year quarterback who has 6-7 interceptions on the year, able to force a lot of turnovers for the Dallas Cowboys defense, which Dallas Cowboys defense, the only kind of turnovers they had was when their grandma made big turnovers during Christmas or Thanksgiving. So I give the Dallas Cowboys full credit, and it looks like the Dallas Cowboys can win this division. The Giants are a complete disaster. They were a week and a half ago to the first 3 quarters of a football game, regardless of injuries or not. I scored 5 points in those three first quarters. 5 points. Came back in the fourth quarter to score a couple of drives, and I give you that. But to the first 3 quarters, 5 points. This isn't playing on All Madden, Trevor. We're playing the Madden Total Challenge, where we do it on All Madden. Trevor knows the history of that, and it's definitely traumatic. But going to news, Christy is saying, Bob Miller traded to the Rams. Even though I divorced my Broncos here, this doesn't matter what team I'm a fan of. I'm a Bengals fan. We got demolished. But here's the fact: is I criticize any stupid NFL move. Denver, you had a chance to get a franchise quarterback. The Bears lost yesterday, I know, but look at the potential of Fields. Look at his legs in that game yesterday. Despite the loss against San Francisco, look at who they have on defense in San Francisco. Look at the potential small by small gradual plays, even if it doesn't always show up in the numbers. Justin Fields could have been your franchise quarterback. But no, now you're already struggling this season to beat good teams on defense. And what do now? You trade your star linebacker you've had since the 2011 draft coming out of A&M to trade for what? For third or fourth round draft picks in the 2022 draft. 2 day 2 draft picks. For what? You're going to draft a quarterback in the third or fourth round and magically it's not going to work out? What happened with Chad Kelly? What happened with Tim Tebow? What happened with what's Paxton Lynch? What happened with Brock Osweiler? Oh wait, you gave him a chance twice. The point is, regardless of the team I'm a fan of or not, obviously I'm not a Broncos fan anymore. I divorced it because of dumb personal decisions like this. Trading Von Miller. If you were a team that had so many great players or you're about to be in rebuild because you just won a Super Bowl, I could understand. This is a different team that hasn't beat a legit Super Bowl contender this year. Be honest. It was personal decision. Since Gary Payne, I believe, whoever was it that has became the GM for the Broncos, he has made boneheaded move after boneheaded move. I would say the same thing with the Jets. It's not because it's just the Broncos. It's just a stupid personnel decision making. Again, I'm talking about his decision making. I'm not talking about him as a person, so y'all get that out of your head. As personnel decision making, he's a complete clown. You trade what is trading Von Miller going to do? You're finally admitting that the duel that could have been between Bradley Chubb and Von Miller didn't work out. I get that because of injuries. I'll give you that, but that's not a reason to trade one of your best defensive players. And you're the same franchise that in the 2020 offseason, you traded Chris Harris for who? Who had a quarterback who had some good years in Jacksonville. Same numbers, pretty close. Same price, though. 1 year later, you shop him. That's the same franchise that was doing the same thing over and over and over. The Broncos, as long as they have the current personnel in that organization, they will not win another Super Bowl. They will not be in the playoffs this year. It would either be the Raiders or the Chargers and the Chiefs above them. Even if he isn't what he used to be, Isaiah, though, just their veteran presence alone does help, especially having won a Super Bowl and been in 2 Super Bowls. It can help that defense in certain games. It may be like the J.J. Watt effect. It may not be what it used to be, but at the same time, he could be that great veteran presence, which can help make the defense better, which helps the offense. So who knows about that one, though? And of course, Chrissy comes with this, which this kind of hashtag started with the Marvel Dudes, but this is about football. Screw you, John Elway. As your personal decision making, this guy said, "Be patient and trust us." Teddy Bridgewater became the guy. Offense was as basic as butter pecan ice cream. You get figured out. You lose against the Ravens. You had a chance to draft Justin Fields. It wouldn't even set me even over that. You're not going to be able to get Rodgers. So what's your plan now different? But wouldn't leave that for football therapy. So I'm just kidding. That's obviously not a thing, but maybe somebody knows a football therapist. Let's go to this Miami Dolphins and Bills game. Quick this out before we finish NFL Sunday Week 8 recap. The John Allcorn Show on the Mi6 Sports Network. The Miami and the Bills. There should be no competition. Like I said, Miami's defense took a huge dive in 2021. What are the couple of issues? Is it partly on the GM? Is it partly on maybe the head coach Brian Flores and his decision making? Is it the coordinator is not doing the job, or is it the defense not retaining at all? But I'm talking about this Bills against the Dolphins yesterday because I'm going to recap a couple of the games because I do get up for work early. So excuse me if you've already seen the recap from some other people, but able to do the show at this time though. Enough with Tua fans. I don't want to hear the excuses. I will give props though. Now we're talking about another AFC East team that won yesterday. The New England Patriots, 27-24. I'll admit that they're playing good. Mac Jones is playing good. They come back yesterday. They're starting to find their identity a little bit as a football team. And a Bill Belichick football-led team is starting to figure out their identity during the season. Let's just say it's definitely going to be a very interesting season for the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick. Through the first 8 weeks, obviously Mac Jones did not play well yesterday. 0 touchdowns, 51.4 completion percentage. But with that being said, though, on the year, yes, 9 touchdowns, 6 picks, QBR 53, 18th overall. But he's top 8 in passing yards. So there are some positive factors to look at. As you go into this next game, though, Jacksonville Jaguars got just smoked against Seattle. People say, "Oh, Geno Smith is not a starting quarterback." This is the Jacksonville Jaguars we're talking about. There's a reason why Geno Smith hasn't started in years. It's the same Geno Smith that started for one game to bench Eli, and then we know what happened from there. Let's not overcrate Geno Smith. Geno Smith. If he was really the guy and a great franchise quarterback, it would have worked out in New York. So enough of the excuses, the points. I give Seattle full credit, and they needed to win this game, but have more heart moving forward. Russell Wilson may not be back to week 12 or week 13, and if he's not 100%, can miss the rest of the 2021 and 2022 NFL season. So the rest of this season, Russell Wilson could be out. Could play with a lot of heart. I'll give him that. But again, it's against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's only have one win on the year, and all they had to do this year is had to double the wins they did last year. Means all you have to do, get 2 wins. But they can't do that so far. So we'll find out here. Washington football team loses against the Broncos. You say, okay, Broncos won. The Broncos still not be a legit playoff contender or a Super Bowl contender. You beat all these cupcake teams. Great. Washington football team's a cupcake team. I was wrong about them. I thought they could have done better even with a guy like Heineke. But the team is garbage. The team is not going to win a division. The Cowboys are going to win that division now. I'm still sticking with my Washington football team pick because I can't go back on a pick. I made the pick before the season started. So I was wrong about that. With that being said, Chrissy, at this point, I agree with you. Personnel, they don't know what they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing in Denver. Me, you, KCT, James Gonzalez could do a billion times better job than who is ever trying to run the Denver Broncos right now in 2021. I do obviously pick the Cowboys to beat the Broncos. He said, Geno Smith also got his job by Team Preston when he played. Exactly. That's a huge story. On that, I said, it feels so bad for T-Law. Seattle secondary absolutely is not very good. And what do? Let's throw short screen passes and not take any deep shots unless it's secondary. Stupid. They didn't do that until they did that when there was only 2 or 3 minutes left. I'm supposed to be this guy, supposed to be this head coach. I feel bad for Trevor Lawrence. But your team is being so bad, and there's so many distractions. And yet, he's able to keep himself under composure. I feel bad for him in Jacksonville. Now, because we knew this team was going to be bad. Not just on the field, but off the field. But man, oh man, the Jacksonville Jaguars always disappoint. I'll give Seattle full credit, take care for this game. Moving forward, can they keep that up? Who knows? Denver, you still got to be the caliber team to be considered serious. Meyer doesn't call the plays, John. It's level. Either way that you're the head coach for the Jaguars, you have some part in the game. Regardless, though, whoever calls the plays, like you said, no excuses. Oh my goodness, the Saints beat the Bucks, but at what cost? The Saints beat the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Tom Brady-led Buccaneers. But at what cost? I say that because, folks, if you haven't heard, breaking news coming out of the NFL, Jameis Winston has a torn ACL, and at best it is a torn MCL. So what that means is Jameis Winston is out for the rest of the season. The Saints have to rely on Trevor Siemian, or most likely I would just put Taysom Hill at that point. Trevor Siemian's Trevor Siemian. Or somehow try to find a veteran quarterback and free agency, or a guy that could be traded for. But really, think about it. The only guy that was a veteran quarterback is out for the year, and that's Ryan Fitzpatrick with the Washington football team. Or maybe, again, I'm not saying this is going to happen. What if the Saints sign Cam Newton, give him a week or two, maybe almost 2.5 weeks, let him get adjusted, take over the reps for the rest of the season, and the Saints will evaluate Winston in the 2022 offseason. That's just my prediction. It's not going to cost him. It probably wouldn't even cost him maybe $1 million, if even that. So hardly anything at all, especially with the Saints struggling against the cap with a lot of players that need to get paid, and you don't have a quarterback, and Jameis Winston's out for the year. My proposal to the Saints, and I'll say it one more time. I'm not saying it's good. Some of my takes are obviously not very good, but I picked the Washington football team to win the NFC East. My proposal to the GM of the Saints: bring in Cam Newton on a workout and see if it works out. If it doesn't, that's cool. That's fine. We'll move on. But bring him in. If it works out, bring him on a 1-year deal. Let Taysom Hill get a lot of the reps. Let Cam Newton learn for the sideline for 2 to 3 weeks, which gives him a ton of time because you beat the Bucs. So it gives you 2 to 3 weeks to get Cam Newton adjusted while Christian Wilson has to adjust. So the Saints draft a quarterback next season. We'll get to that in just a second, Christy, but great question. I think the Saints should bring in Cam Newton for the rest of the season in 2021. But to answer your question, should the Saints draft a quarterback next season? I think they should wait until 2023. This quarterback draft class is not very good. Spencer Rattler, supposedly, according to some people, could have been a potential Heisman candidate, got beat out by his backup, and now his backup could be most likely the starter for the rest of the season. So he's not going to be the pick he was supposed to be in this year's draft. And then you had Keaton Slovis, he's injured or he's going to enter the transfer portal, so he might not be as a high of a pick as some people thought he was in the 2022 draft. In my opinion, Christy, let me know what y'all think. Isaiah, Christy, just for anybody that's watching. This 2022 quarterback draft class is probably going to be one of the more lackluster, more boring draft classes we have seen in a long time. We've been spoiled in the past 15, 20 years with quarterback draft classes. The one with Rodgers, the one with Rivers, the one with Eli, the one with Baker and Donald and Rosen and Allen. We've been so spoiled. But now, and with Lamar Jackson, 2018, of course, with all those quarterbacks. And now we have the 2022 draft, where there really isn't anybody. So either you're going to have to get a veteran minimum deal for Cam Newton or somebody, somehow, some quarterback in 2022. Because unless there's a guy later in the rounds that you believe in, remember the Saints, they didn't draft Drew Brees. The Chargers did. Was going to go to Miami. They thought the shoulder would be too much that he would never play again. And Drew Brees signs with the Saints in the 26th offseason. We know the history from there. Wins the Super Bowl a couple of years later and MVP and on future first ballot Hall of Famer in 2025. 2026, I'm sorry. So if I'm the Saints, you either get a guy in the late rounds or right now, I would focus on getting Cam Newton in on a 1-year deal. Because the fact is, this quarterback draft class in 2022 is very boring. But let me know what you think. And Isaiah talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. Bevel run an outdated dinosaur offense. It's definitely outdated, Isaiah. It is beyond boring. This last game, though, I know Christy's going to like this one because she made a comment here just a little bit ago saying, how about them Cowboys? And Christy, you're right. How about them Cowboys? They won yesterday 20-16 despite losing your starting quarterback. Offense played pretty decent. So moving forward, though, Christy, or people that are following the Dallas Cowboys prospectively, do the Dallas Cowboys have a bye week this weekend or do they play? Because I'm interested to see, regardless, though, is Dak Prescott going to play this weekend? Or is he out indefinite? Or is he going to be 100% for this week, for this coming Sunday? Who knows? Because imagine either way, if Dak Prescott's not healthy, that could give him, I'm not saying it's a good thing, because I don't wish injury upon nobody. But if somehow Dak Prescott is out for a week or two, I think they would be okay. Because with how the Giants are, Washington's 2-6. The Eagles beat the Lions. The Cowboys would be just fine for a week or two. Other than that, there could be a lot of cause of problems to freak out. They still have 10 more games. This is 17 games, 18-week season, first ever in NFL history. But I will give Cowboys full credit for being the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I said this, and I was wrong. I had told some producer Stephen Wayne, because we all like to talk. Mi6 group, we're a family. And I was telling him, if Dallas does not have Dak Prescott, I pick Minnesota to win. And again, nobody's takes are always going to be 100% right. Despite what Isaiah says, nobody's takes, at least for me, I know that my takes are not always going to be 100% right. I picked Minnesota to win, and clearly, look how that one worked out. Of course, NFL trade line, there could be some potential wins moving forward, though. And breaking, I believe the Tennessee Titans are signing veteran free agent running back Adrian Peterson for the rest of the season. I mean, it looks like, though, it's not looking good, but most likely Derrick Henry, folks, is going to be out for the rest of the 2021 season. This is not about Derrick Henry. This is about the conversation I had about running backs early last year during COVID. I believe running backs are very important in the NFL. But when you overuse running backs, does it help you win a Super Bowl as much? We've seen the past 15, 20 years. Maybe it's happened once or twice in very recent history. Look at the Patriots. Look at the Eagles. Look at the Falcons when they at least appeared in a Super Bowl. Devontae Freeman didn't have that good year in 2017. We'll look at the Packers. They had that defense. You had Randall Cobb. You had Aaron Rodgers. There wasn't this running back getting 1,400 plus carries and 370 plus attempts. When you do that, you damage your running back and cause injury. Seen in Carolina, and we're starting to see it with Tennessee. I think to a certain extent running backs are overvalued, but now the pressure is on Ryan Tannehill with Adrian Peterson. Obviously, Adrian Peterson is just for this 1 year veteran minimum deal for the next 10 games, and maybe a playoff game. So 11, 12 games at best. Can Ryan Tannehill take over the reins and put the pressure of the Titans season, not just this year, but in terms of also in the playoffs, on his back? I don't know, because he's always had Derrick Henry to cop him out. Obviously, they lost against the Chiefs in the 2020 AFC Championship game. When Derrick Henry got stopped, the Ryan Tannehill tries to throw the ball down the field, gets a couple plays, and then he throws the ball to Honey Badger, a.k.a. Tyrann Mathieu, and ends the game. Chiefs win the Super Bowl that year. We know they're dynasty, not franchise. There's two different things. Definitely unfortunate for the Tennessee Titans. I wish him the best, and hopefully he can come back next year stronger than ever. But as you see, sometimes running backs coming back from injuries, they're not always the same guy overall. Again, folks, the NFL trade deadline does end tomorrow, November 2nd, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, and 1 p.m. Pacific. So definitely going to be kind of interesting what kind of guys are going to be on the move. Von Miller's on the move. Adrian Peterson got signed in free agency, and so I'm kind of curious, though. I'm just surprised. Maybe I haven't paid attention to the NFL news, but has Larry Fitzgerald officially retired? I don't know. But Derrick Henry is suspected to miss 6 to 10 weeks, so most likely the rest of the season. And if he comes back, he's not going to be 100%. And they don't want to rush running back from injury. Again, there's a lot of potential guys that can get into free agency. Some people say Allen Robinson. The Bears are not going to trade him. If they're smart, they're let go Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace, but it's Chicago. You have one of the most, if not the most, underrated receiver in the NFL. You keep him. The Broncos are convinced of their first-year running back, Javonte Williams. But Melvin Gordon's been, he's been okay. He's been pretty boring. If there is maybe a way to describe how Melvin Gordon has been, with, let's just say, the Denver Broncos, there's really no way to describe how he's been. Give the 4 reins to Devontae Williams, but then you have to kind of figure out who's your quarterback, how your offense is run. Definitely a lot of issues there, but even if that, it's according to this article from sportingnews.com. That's an article from sportingnews.com. What team would want to trade for a old veteran running back, and not just that necessarily, but who hasn't necessarily shown potential, despite Adrian Peterson when he got older, maybe up until 2020 or 2021, who can put up some numbers and help this team? What team that is RB, not the Dolphins, that nobody would pick up Melvin Gordon in free agency? I mean, Kyle Ford could be gone after the 2021-2022 NFL season, so we'll see what happens there. A lot of free agent decisions, though. If I'm going to say so, I just thought of this according to this article from sportingnews.com. Why don't this? I'm not sure about the cap situations. Correct me if I'm wrong. What the Saints brought in or traded for Nick Foles for the rest of the season? Or if that isn't an option, wait till the offseason and bring in Nick Foles for 1-year deal. Bring Cam Newton, 1-year deal as you try to evaluate what the quarterback position is for the future. It doesn't cost you a lot, but you're able to get the guys that you think are the future guys of the NFL. Without further ado, folks, we haven't done it in a while. We're going to do a quick Isaiah Ross test. We're going to do tonight's final thoughts here in just a little bit.
Glory, glory to Georgia. The Dogs are the best team in the nation.
I just can't wait till that sports take comes back to bite Isaiah in the butt. This is always a good one, and then we'll end it after these 2 Isaiah Rochester videos.
He's losing again! How many times do we keep freaking losing, man? Gosh darn it, another freaking loss!
And also, James says, moves like Jagger. James, true story. I don't want to speak on behalf of her, but shout out DJ Shiner Nichols, though. She actually once told me she does not play Maroon 5 at games or any event she works. I don't know if that's true. I'll have to ask her about it, but I did ask her once about Maroon 5, and she said she never plays them or does not play them. So I don't know if there's like licensing issues or the lyrics are too dirty or what, but I'll see if I can reconfer and see what it might be. Isaiah, back over to you.
We need Jagger in the Olympics. We need that. Like, we need the one where instead of you having those mini blocks, those wooden blocks, isn't Jagger like the tower? And you pull the blocks out, and whoever knocks down the Isn't that what Jaguar is? Isn't that what you pull like the block out?
Isaiah, where do you get Jenga from Jagger? It's Jenga.
Really, we all like to kid and joke with Isaiah, so we will leave that there and go to tonight's final thoughts. Thank you all so much for supporting this video. It's so good to be back on the Mi6 Sports Network. A lot of things are happening. Go back to school. Things will be happening very soon. So thank you all so much for the patience. It's good to be back here with full-time regular programming with the John Allcorn Show on the Mi6 Sports Network after almost 6 months. So these episodes will be Mondays and Fridays, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, Mondays and Fridays at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Some potential future guest coming very soon. We will see you later. Thank you so much for the support. Peace.
I don't know if I've seen someone with the drive and passion to make it in the industry like I've seen with you. And
You see a couple of notes right there. You see a couple of things we talk about grading NFL coaches, a couple of that stuff. You see a couple more notes right here.
This guy, John Allcorn, this guy, nobody works harder. This guy is a future superstar in the media business.
Keep up the good work, man. I like your style.